Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at the 2023 Honda Ridgeline. This is the RTL-e. Huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this truck for me today. They have a massive selection of pretty much brand new inventory. That link is down in the description. So this Ridgeline is finished off in white, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features and get this out on the road. So let's start off with what powers the Ridgeline. This has a 3.5 liter V6. It's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, pumping out 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,500 pound truck from 0 to 60 in around 8 seconds with a top speed of 124 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 19.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 18 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 125.2 inches. Its overall length is 210.2. It has a width of 78.6, a height of 70.8. Its ground clearance measures in at 7.6 inches, and it also has an approach angle of 20.4 degrees and a breakover and departure angle of 19.6 degrees. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this Honda Ridgeline, let's start off with the gloss black grille front and center. So it gives it a great contrast against this white. But the Honda badge is also the forward-facing sensor, so this has adaptive cruise, and that is the sensor nicely incorporated. There's also plenty of cutouts in that grille to provide even more cooling, as well as in the lower section, which you can see is blacked out too. Now this also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. The turn signals are actually in the lower section of the bumper, so we just have the headlights, the high beams, and the DRLs up top. You will notice too that the strip runs right around the chrome area there, so that's nice that the upper section of the grille goes into the headlight housings. Just makes it flow a little bit nicer. This even has fog lights just up underneath the turn signals, nicely tucked away. And there's even a large air inlet to provide even more aerodynamics, so very functional for the front end of this. And then 2 lines coming down the hood, meeting the top of that chrome trim piece very nicely. So I think it has a great presence to it, very functional at the same time. And for the side, this has a set of 18-inch wheels finished off in a dark gray with that 5-spoke design to them. You can see there is some plastic trim for the fender arches. It comes off of the lower front bumper there and then makes its way to the side skirts. You'll notice that there's a line going right through the height of the door handles there. And then for the two-tone side mirrors, they also have the integrated turn signal. Now there's more chrome trim surrounding all of the windows. There's even a sunroof up top. And if you take away the bed space, it looks very much like a Honda Pilot up front. So it has a similar design. I believe it's either based off of the Honda Pilot or the Honda Odyssey. This is a unibody versus a body-on-frame construction like every other pickup truck or most pickup trucks. So everything is one continuous piece. This also has the 5-foot bed. I think it has a good design to it with that line continuing its way to the back. Now for the rear end, this has the backup camera, LED taillights. There's parking sensors in that bumper as well as the dual exhaust, and then this can even tow right around 5,000 pounds. Now as we work our way to the bed, my favorite feature of this truck compared to any other pickup truck available is the fact that you can open up this tailgate 2 different ways. We have the traditional style like every other pickup truck on the market, and then we can take a quick look at this bed. It seems to be a little bit short, but you still have plenty of space. Very low arches too, so you can actually put in some items sideways there. You don't have massive fender arches where the wheels would be, which is interesting to note, even though it does have a little bit less height to it. But we have the traditional way, so you can put in items as needed. And then if I lift this up, over on the passenger side, just to the left of the A in all-wheel drive, I can pull on that handle and open this tailgate up sideways. So that allows you to reach in farther if you need to, but it also allows you access to the lockable trunk space within the bed. So if I lift this open, look at the amount of space that you get back here. There's even a spare tire. So you can pack in whatever items that you need to and still have the usable bed space. I think this is an excellent design. Now this does not have a solid rear axle, so that allows it to have that amount of space. It is independent in the rear. Most every other truck has a solid rear axle. But I do like that usable space. It gives you so much more versatility. I own a pickup truck myself. I would love to have that amount of space underneath the bed. Now, as we work our way to the interior, you will see that the door panel has a nice design to it. There's leather on the armrest, some brush trim on the release handle. There's a cup holder with a little bit of space behind that, as well as a speaker down below. And then for these seats, we have the leather design with perforations running down the middle, all the stitching and everything. What I like about these back seats too is they actually flip up. So there is a handle here where you just have to pull the handle and then you can lock this seat up into place. It's a little bit hard to do with one hand there, but once that is locked up, you have a nice flat area minus the rail there to put in some other items as needed. So if you need that usability, you have it. And you can see that the rail actually tucks up underneath. So once I pull this release, you will see that drop down, and then that is how it locks into place. But for a pickup truck, it's very low, so it's easy to enter and exit. At 5'10", I have plenty of room in the back. There's 2 air vents, some auxiliaries, and a little bit of storage in the middle. And then as far as headroom goes, I have around 2 or 3 inches or so. So for a mid-sized truck like this Ridgeline, it's actually doable for full-size adults. I could be easily comfortable and ride around in the back of this truck. Now, right in the middle, we do have the armrest as well as cup holders, a little bit of storage. You can adjust that headrest if you do have a middle seat passenger. This has the power sliding rear glass that you can open and close as needed, and plenty of visibility for the size of this truck. It's very easy to see all around. You'll notice too that all the door handles are chrome. We have the lock button there that you can use, and then the front door panel is just like the rear. However, there's a lot more storage. There's the fuel cap release, memory seating adjustments, all the window controls as well. And then looking at the power front seats, we have that same design to them with all the stitching. They are captain's chairs, so they both have that adjustable armrest. And then as we work our way to the steering wheel, you will see it's completely covered in solid black leather, and we have a lot of controls to go over. So on this right side, we have some info to go through. This is all the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings with the steering assist. On the left side, you will see the heated steering wheel control along with Bluetooth and voice commands. And then there's volume and tuning for the radio, as well as some scrolling buttons to get through some various pages. So let's fire up this Ridgeline. With my foot on the brake, we can bring this to life. And then looking at this gauge cluster, on the left side is the tach, on the right side is the engine temperature and the fuel level, and then front and center you can see miles per hour, and then there's some more info to go through underneath using those arrows over on the right side of the steering wheel. So currently it is showing the compass. You can also pull up the TPMS, look at oil life. There's even a reset that you can monitor, and then there's some other vitals that you can pull up with your distance and your range. So just depending on what you need to see. And then on the left side of the steering wheel, if I push on this top icon, you will see in the infotainment system, you can go between your map, you can pull up your phone, and the last one is music. Now, when you go into each of those, you can actually use this button up underneath and further go through some of that info within each setting. So if I go into phone and then push on that bottom button, now we can view a few other icons there when you have that paired, and then go into your music and be able to go through AM, FM, things like that. So it's a really neat integrated system. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to. Now over on the left side of the steering wheel, you will see a lot more controls like the parking sensors, the lane keeping assist, traction control. This is for the forward collision. There's also a cargo light in the bed. There's a defroster, and even the power outlet that you can monitor. There's an eco button above that, along with the side mirror adjustments. And then as we work our way back to the infotainment system, you will see on this left side, if I push on home, now you can view all of these icons like navigation, phone, audio. You can go into the Honda link. There's even settings to go into. And then you can scroll over where there's currently blank pages right now, which I'm assuming you could add some more icons as needed. And then also over on the left side, there's a menu button along with a back arrow. You can also adjust the brightness of the screen, and then volume and power for the audio is in the lower left. There's even some shortcuts up top where you can get into the map and the audio, which I believe you can configure as needed. And that is it for the infotainment system. Super simple and straightforward. There's an air vent on both sides, hazards just underneath that. And then we have all the climate adjustments. right in the middle with this screen. So there's the fan speed, where you'd like the air to go. We have temperature dials on both sides, and then you can even control the rear settings as well just by pushing on the lower buttons. Fan speed is on that left side. We have some other defrosters too. And then, like I mentioned, these are heated seats, so those controls are on both sides. A little bit of space there where you could maybe place your phone, but you can even place it down below on the wireless charging pad. There's also a few other auxiliaries so that we can charge even more electronics. And then you will see 2 cup holders in the middle. And then this is the gear selector. So with my foot on the brake, if I just push on that once, that is for reverse, where you can see the backup camera along with a few different angles. And I haven't been able to find out, you turn off the parking sensors, and now we can clearly view this without that beeping. Now you have neutral right in the middle, and then drive and the sport mode is the last button. So you can toggle between that to use the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters if you would like to. And then park is at the very top. Now behind that, there is different driving modes for this. So we have the intelligent traction management system, where you can go between normal, snow, mud, and sand. So like I said, with the all-wheel drive system, it makes it a lot more capable. And then this has the engine start stop feature just behind that. Now right in the middle, you'll see a pretty cool trim accent for this center cover. If I open this up, there's a few more auxiliaries down below, and you can definitely charge a lot more items as needed. There's even this sliding tray that you can adjust. And then on the passenger side, plenty of room in that glove box for any info you would like to place there. This has a sunroof with the manual adjusting sunshade. There's a sunglass holder up top, even the wide angle rear view mirror. So that way you can see everybody in the back seats. We have the sunroof adjustments, even dome lights on both sides. And then we'll take another look at visibility from the driver's seat. Definitely a very open feeling for the inside of this truck. So as we get behind the wheel now for this Honda Ridgeline, they have a starting MSRP right around $45,000, at least for this trim level here. So of course you can go to some of the lower trim levels if you want a little bit less expensive of a truck. But for 45 grand, you're in the same ballpark as far as other mid-sized trucks go. And I think the Honda Ridgeline kind of gets a bad name for the truck because in some people's eyes, it's not considered a real truck. Now, I own a Toyota Tacoma, and I'm also making a comparison video between a Tacoma and this Ridgeline. So check out that video as well if you would like to see the differences between them. But after checking this out, I don't have a lot of seat time behind the wheel of the Ridgeline. My fiance owns a Honda CR-V, so honestly, a lot of these controls I am very familiar with because they are identical to her car. And I love her car. It's very smooth. It's a normal practical SUV, which kind of makes this a little bit more practical of an SUV. You lose the back area like in a Honda Pilot. Now you have the bed space, and you're not really sacrificing driving a reliable, comfortable, and very usable pickup truck. Now, this is not something that the buyer of a Honda Ridgeline isn't taking this off-road. So this is on pavement pretty much 100% of the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this gives you pretty much an SUV to drive on the road. It is so comfortable and quiet. You really don't think or realize you are in a pickup truck because it's just like driving a lot of the Honda SUVs. And we're up to speed just like that with a mild acceleration. So I can see the appeal to this. If you need the practicality, maybe you have mountain bikes you're throwing in the back, you're doing yard work, you're doing something where you need the open space in the back, but that's pretty much all you're going to use it for, and obviously do a lot of seat time driving this wherever you're going. So I think it's honestly a good option for what it is. I like it. I wouldn't get it over my Tacoma, but that's for a whole separate topic, of course. But I like it. I wish it had a little bit more technology for the screen there, but it gives you what you need. You can hook up your phone, you have the navigation. That's pretty much all I use personally. But aside from that, it's nice. We don't have the solid rear axle, so it's going to make it a lot more comfortable to drive out on the pavement with the independent front and rear. It's going to absorb those bumps a little bit better, a little bit different than the solid axles would. So for 45 grand, it's a contender I can see in the mid-sized truck world. if you don't want to go off-road and do some of those purposes that some of the other trucks are capable of doing. I've never seen a lifted Ridgeline, although I think it would be kind of cool to see what it's like and the capabilities it could have if you lifted it. But with another acceleration, it's peppy. I like it. We have the 9-speed transmission, and it doesn't feel like it's been using all of those gears or jumping around in a sense. Very smooth throughout the power and the driving that I've been doing. And so now we're going to push on the sport mode. That allows us to use these paddle shifters. We'll drop down to 2nd gear. I'm actually pretty impressed. They're not super responsive like you're in a sports car, but for what they are, it's actually pretty good, pretty decent. So if you happen to be towing where you need to drop a gear, you need to hold a gear, so that way, you know, you can get the power that you need, you have them. Or if you just want to have some fun, maybe you're merging out on the highway, that's pretty cool. I like the paddles in this Ridgeline, and you can go through all the gears very, very quickly. So it's nice. It's not like some other vehicles that I've been in. They're actually seem to be pretty usable, which is nice to see. But for the $45,000 mark, the Honda Ridgeline, it's actually changing my thoughts a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of it, but like, as you saw in this video, I love that storage that you get under the bed. And if you just want a really comfortable and nice everyday style vehicle, Hondas are very good cars. They're very reliable. My fiance's CRV has 100,000 miles on it. It's 10 years old and it is still kicking. It's very easy to maintain, very reliable. So I have nothing bad to say against Honda. Just personally, I don't think I would buy a Ridgeline, but I can see it. I can see the appeal to it for just everyday driving and needing that open space. I think it's a really cool truck. And hopefully you've been able to tell how quiet this is. We have a vehicle coming right now. You probably didn't even hear that. It's so comfortable and quiet. It's really a nice place to be. But I think that is going to wrap it up for this 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Once again, a huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this truck for me today. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.